So good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar on Boschendal in South Africa. I'm Alice, I work with Anita at Some World Marketing and I'm actually presenting this webinar having just returned from Boschendal just a few days ago. So those of you who follow us on our social media will have seen us keeping you guys up to date on all of that. So we had an amazing few days down on the farm, exploring everything the farm has to offer. So really excited to be back and feeling so passionate about it. So Boschendal is located about an hour and a half outside of Cape Town, almost sort of equidistant from Franschhoek, Paarl and Stellenbosch. So it's in a really great location, really accessible to Cape Town Airport, and also really close to Franschhoek, which is of course such an iconic area in the winelands. So this is a map of the farm. So as you can see, there is so much happening here. There is 1,800 hectares that make up Boschendal. So there's all this other farmland as well as the sort of main property that everyone stays at. So as you can see down the bottom right here, we've got the WERF restaurant and bar, you've got the main manor house and the DELI and their farm shop and butchery down here as well. Down on the bottom left, you can see that you've got the kind of Roan homestead, there's the cellar door here, this is where all the wine tours happen. So when you come in the main entrance, what's really nice is that any day visitors actually kind of get fed off to the right, and everyone else fed off to the left. So it means that it's not really busy every day with day visitors. And then over the road, about 200 meters, you've got the rest of the accommodation. So there's the orchard cottages in the center here, which are great for families. You've got the retreat, which was kind of often used for big groups, incentive groups or wedding groups. And then there's the exclusive use cottages. So you've got 1685, Trout Cottage and the Mountain Villa as well. And down near the main area, we've got the WERF garden suite. So these are great little one-bedroom cottages, perfect for couples or people with one small child maybe, and are really accessible to the main area as well. So the property has been really active during COVID, and that's something that we've really noticed, especially since we've been down there as well, is they've just been doing so much down here. So they've not only kind of upgraded a lot of the accommodation, and kind of they're just constantly diversifying. So they've introduced new events, new activities, and kind of really sort of strengthened their offering for the local market as well as the international market as well. So just this farm to stay favorites document is great. It's actually, we'll send it out with our follow-up, but it just kind of gives a really good overview of the accommodation that's on offer. So you've got the garden suites, the orchard cottages, the retreat, and then the exclusive use cottages as well, and then the activities they offer. So there's so much to do down here. We stayed for 3 nights, and I can say that was not nearly enough. 3 nights minimum, but I mean, you could even do sort of 4 or 5 nights here and still have an abundance of things to do, as well as some relaxing time as well. So do guided hikes up in the mountains, farm tours. Boschendal is a working farm, so and they really make the most of that throughout your stay. When you're driving around the farm, you'll see, we drove past tractors pulling the grapes to go and make the wine. You can see all the orchards. There's livestock here, so you can really get an idea of the fact that it is a truly working farm. They've got loads of mountain bike trails, 65 kilometers of mountain bike trails up in the mountains. You can go wild swimming at any of the various dams around the property. Then they've got amazing restaurants. They've got the WERF restaurant, which is kind of more, I suppose, more fine dining option, though it's still fairly casual. And then you've got the DELI, which is the more sort of relaxed dining option. They've got a farm shop, which they introduced last year actually to the property. So they've got a farm shop and butchery, and they've actually also now got a homewares shop as well, which the small marketing team did do a little bit of damage in while we were staying. And then they're really famous for their picnics. So they sit out under the trees, there's live music, and they run those from Thursday to Saturday every week, and they're really popular with everyone from people staying on the farm to people staying in the local area. People come from Cape Town to have a Boschendal picnic. It is just such a serene, lovely, idyllic experience. Of course, there's wine tasting, being a wine farm, and they do these from near the WERF restaurant, and they can also do them over at the Roan homestead as well. You can go out horse riding, and the kids' experiences here are really amazing, making the farm just such a perfect option for families staying in the area. So they have, you know, the Treehouse experience, which they kids can stay there, whether can go in there in the morning or the afternoon, whether you're staying on the property or parents just dining there. And also they do have like a holiday club, so kids from the local area will come here during their school holidays, so that they have sort of like an activities club for those kids during their holidays. So the Treehouse is a sort of Eduplay centre where they'll take the kids out kind of foraging, show them around the farm, go and collect the eggs from the chickens, and you know, make pizzas, make their own bread. So it's really interactive, it's really outdoorsy, and it's just about getting kids out on the farm and learning about the farm and about nature. They also introduced the markets during COVID as well. So they do a Friday night market, which we so sadly had to fly back on Friday, but did have people really try to convince us to stay, because yeah, Friday night markets are really popular in the local area and for people staying on the farm as well. So this is the main manor house. It's kind of where the sort of main retail precinct and restaurants are kind of all focused around the main manor house, and it's actually now been transformed into a art gallery, the Novel Gallery. So it's really cool. They have some really cool kind of features throughout the manor house as well, just sort of showing you actually how old it is. So Boschendal was established in 1865, so it's the second oldest wine estate and second largest in South Africa. And it just, you can really see that heritage throughout the interior of this building, as well as the beautiful modern art. So the contrast is really interesting. Just another quick overview of the accommodation and kind of rates here as well. So you've got 7 WERF cottages, which are great for honeymooners or just couples. You can fit maybe one small child in these cottages as well. There's 14 orchard cottages ranging from 1 bedroom to 4 bedrooms. And then there's the retreat, which is 17 cottages, which are 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and they're actually renovating these to reconfigure the sort of space and add another bathroom to them as well. So as you can see, the rate is really, really competitive, and yeah, they're sort of planning on keeping it pretty competitive as well. So for everything that they offer and all the activities they include in a stay here, it is a really competitive rate. And then the exclusive use houses, they've got TROUT Cottage, Cottage 1685, and the Mountain Villa. So these are all sort of exclusive use, and they're set up in their own little space. The TROUT Cottage is 3 bedrooms. The Cottage 1685 is 5 bedrooms. They can sleep up to 10. It's actually set across 2 buildings. They've got the main cottage and then an annex. And then the Mountain Villa is a beautiful, newly renovated villa up at the base of the mountains, and it sleeps 12, 6 bedrooms. And they've got private pool and dam there as well. So just another sort of overview of all the accommodation offerings. So the garden suites, as I said, they're the ones that are sort of a little closer to the main area, so just down here. So you've got people who kind of want to be sort of in the thick of it, but they're still, it's set away so that it still feels like it's its own little kind of private garden, but is really close walking distance from the accommodation reception, and also, you know, all the retail and restaurants as well. So they're these beautiful suites. You've got the small WERF suites, which offer a, you know, bedroom and then a living space and a small kitchenette as well. And there is also a communal pool here as well. And then you've got the large garden suite. So it's still 1 bedroom, it's just got a slightly bigger space. So it would be great if you had sort of one small child, they can set up a day bed for a small child here. It's just got a slightly bigger living space. And then the dining area. And as you can see, the interiors are quite traditional here. So that's a modern traditional kind of twist, just kind of harking back to the sort of heritage of the farm. The orchard cottages are amazing for families. So they are situated sort of in the centre of the farm here. So you cross over the road from the main entrance. So what's really nice about that is that all of the accommodation on this side of the farm is sort of set away in its own little area. It's really quiet, and in each kind of pocket of accommodation options feel like their own little village, their own sort of small intimate village. So you never really feel like you're part of sort of this enormous farm. So they go from 1 bedroom up to 4 bedroom. You've got the 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom and 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom options. And they've all got this lovely outdoor space with a braai area as well. So they can be fully self-catering if guests want to do that. They would rather not dine at the restaurants or want to kind of look after themselves. They can really easily do that. And then the 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom, 4 bedroom, 4 bathroom are huge, great big cottages, and they really can accommodate, a couple of, a small group or family. There's a communal pool here. And as I said, it's kind of in its own little sort of village. So there's all these beautiful lawns here. Kids can just get out and run around and play, and have this real sense of freedom, which is quite unique sometimes on an African holiday, to be able to just run free, especially if families are heading on to safari or something like that. The retreat is the more sort of originally kind of set up for like conferencing and incentives, but it's also used as wedding accommodation as well. So it works really well for big groups, or obviously can be taken kind of individually as well. So the retreat is actually going to be reconfigured. So all of the cottages are being adapted. So they're kind of changing the living and dining space around, so that they can add a second bathroom in. These have always been 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom, but adding in the second bathroom will just make it sort of suit that incentives and conferencing kind of style, as well as if you've got 2 couples, they don't necessarily want to share a bathroom. They're also including a front deck and a back decked area to kind of increase the space, so you have like a really lovely outdoor space. And there's a sort of main dining and main kind of lounge area that is kind of exclusive to the retreat area, and they're also renovating that as well. So these are the kind of existing photos of the cottages. As I said, these are changing, and I have popped in a couple of, just excuse the sort of iPhone, not so professional imagery, but we managed to snap a couple of images from the new cottage. They've renovated a couple of them already. So as you can see, there is a second bathroom just out here, and then there's another bedroom and bathroom in the cottage as well. And they've sort of reconfigured the space and just kind of made it a little bit more modern. It's sort of slightly different style to the other cottages. So this is probably this more kind of modern style when you compare across the board. There's lovely shared spaces here. So you've got the shared boma area. There's a natural pool here, which, as you can see, has got incredible views of the mountains. And then they've got a main dining space as well, which they are adapting soon, and a main sort of living space. There's also conferencing facilities here. So they've got, they've got a sort of conference center, they've got a media sort of cinema room, and meetings rooms as well, and as well as a sports pitch too. So, for those sorts of groups, it's brilliant for that. Then moving on to the more exclusive use kind of style properties. These are all set in their own little areas. So it's Cottage 1685, which was actually originally built for Cecil Rhodes, who owned the farm at one point in its long history. And he's actually responsible for a lot of the fruit orchards that are planted around the property. So kind of really changed the face of the farm. As you can see, it's just up here, set off by itself. And it does have the annex as well. So it's 3 bedrooms in the main cottage and then 2 in the annex. And they've really tried to keep the kind of heritage feeling here. Obviously, it's got sort of a really rich history, this building. So They sort of tried to really keep it that sort of very heritage interiors, whilst also modernising it over the years as well. And then you've got the annex out the back as well. So would work really well for like a multi-gen family if you've got kind of grandparents traveling as well. They can have their own space off, or if you've got older kids, teenagers having their own space in the annex, in the 2-bedroom annex. And it's got a private pool here too. And then we head on to Trout Cottage, which is just up here, and it's actually got its own private dam. So it doesn't have a pool, but it does have, you can swim in the dams here. So wild swimming is just lovely. And it's a really nice way of kind of, yeah, getting in touch with the farm. So Trout Cottage has got 3 bedrooms, and it's similar sort of style in the kind of heritage style here. And it's also got a kids' room, lovely bunk beds. And then you've got the mountain villa, which, as the name suggests, is set up in the mountains here, right at the base of the mountains. So it's got absolutely incredible views over the farm here. And they have also just renovated it. So all the interiors have just been updated. It's got its private pool, which, as you can see, has just got stunning views. And then all the kind of modern interiors, so much more kind of, the style of this is almost similar to what the new retreat rooms would be like. It's very kind of modern, modern twist on it. And it sleeps 12, and it comes with its own kind of set of staff. So you get, you know, the chef and all the sort of butler staff as well here. So it'd be fantastic for a family group wanting to kind of get away from it all. It's still only sort of 10 minutes from the main area. So there are porters throughout your stay here. If guests are not self-driven or, you know, want to go down and have a wine tasting and come back up to their cottage, they can be driven around by porters who they can just call reception and will, yeah, take guests around wherever they need to go. And then you've kind of got, the farm has just got so much going for it. There's so many activities to be done on the farm. You have a farm tour, which you can take around the gardens and kind of find out about everything they're growing here. The gardens are absolutely beautiful. You know, when you're driving around, as I said, you kind of really see the fact that it is a working farm, and they really want to kind of push that kind of point home as well, just showing that it is a fully working farm. They're producing livestock and fruit and vegetables and wine that are being kind of distributed in the local area and internationally as well in terms of the wine. You have fresh produce from the farm, so 90% of all of the food in the restaurants and in the shops as well is sourced from the farm, and the 10% is really just fish that's not sourced from the farm. So you've got the VAF restaurant, which, as I said, is the kind of more fine dining option, more kind of formal dining option. It's still, you know, you don't have to dress up for dinner kind of thing, but it is just absolutely delicious food here from breakfast right through until dinner. And it's just a really beautiful location overlooking the gardens. And then the deli is more casual, kind of cafe style, again, open right through from breakfast until dinner, and it's just a bit more casual dining here. And as I said at the beginning, the Boschendal picnics are just iconic. It is such a beautiful location. You're sat under the trees, there's live music in the bandstand, you can play lawn games, sip wine, and it is just such a sort of idyllic experience. And they do these from Thursday through to Saturday every week. So guests can, through to Sunday every week. So guests come from the local area. If you've got guests staying in the local area but not staying at Boschendal, we definitely recommend coming in and doing this here. It's such an iconic, so iconic to Boschendal. And sometimes you speak to, you know, South Africans who have been to Boschendal as children and had a picnic here. So it is a really iconic activity to the area. And then, of course, you've got wine tasting. So being a wine farm, you can have incredible wine tastings here. They'll do a tour of the farm for guests, so they can go around and see everything that's being grown here. And then there's other activities as well, not necessarily just to do with the farming. So you've got mountain biking trails, 65 kilometers of mountain biking trails up in the mountains. Amazing hiking trails as well. again, right through up into the mountains. We headed up there with a guide, which we definitely recommend, because there's so much history to be conveyed. You know, we walked past, old buildings in ruin, ex-slave quarters. There was actually, this was the photo here was a silver mine, which actually didn't produce any silver in the end, but just really, really interesting. And so we definitely recommend doing it with a guide, at least the first time. I could have gone up every morning, but no time. And then you've got horse riding as well on the property. So you head out. It's a really nice way to actually see the farm. If guests don't want to go on a farm tour, it's a really nice way to kind of see the property and see the different areas of being grown. And then you've obviously got the farm shop, which they've got the farm shop, and then they've also got the homewares shop. So the farm shop, you can go in and buy, fresh produce. There's a butchery there, there's the bakery, and so guests who are wanting to be a bit more self-catering can head down here, buy a load of produce, and then head back to their cottage, and they can have a braai, have their nibbles at their cottage. So it's really nice to be a little bit more independent. We actually did that one evening when we'd had quite a big day and we just wanted to relax in our cottage, bought a load of produce, and it was just so lovely, and it's all so fresh and delicious. And then, as I said, they've also got the homewares shop here as well, so really, really beautiful homewares. We all did quite a bit of shopping here. We sort of cleared the place out. I hope they've restocked since we were there, but that's also just really nice to be able to take home a few pieces from your trip. And then you've got the Eduplay Centre. So this is the kind of kids activity centre, which is just, amazing for kids. The farm is anyway amazing for kids, but if parents want to go off and do a wine tasting or have lunch by themselves, kids can come here for a morning or an afternoon. They also do full days kids activities as well, and they can play in this gorgeous outdoor play area, or they do all these activities. So kids come in and they've got their own little locker with their name on it, and they head out onto the farm, and they learn about all things to do with the farm, with the sustainability of the farm. They can go and collect their eggs, they go and forage for berries in the woods. So it is just like a really cool, really interactive kids club basically, but just so much more than that. And the guides here are just fantastic with the kids, and they get them out into nature. I'm really interested. There's no screens here, no screens to be seen. And then Boschendal also do host weddings. So they've got the olive press, and they also host smaller weddings at the Roan homestead as well. And as you can see, it's just the most stunning location. So they can host up to 250 at the olive press and up to 50 at the homestead. And as I said at the beginning, Boschendal has been so proactive during COVID, during the last couple of years, and have really diversified their offering for not just international guests, but also for the local markets. So their Friday night markets are so popular and so buzzing. It attracts people from all over the area, and it's a really cool dining, wine, you can chill on bean bags here, there's live music, and it's just a really cool buzzing event. So really nice for international guests to kind of get involved with that as well. They've got their drive-in cinema, which runs every Saturday during summer, weather dependent. And that's, again, it's just such a cool way to kind of mix not only having the local guests that come here to go to the drive-in theatre, but also international guests can enjoy this as well. And they also do Friday night swims. So every Friday night, again, weather dependent, they go wild swimming in one of the dams. So that's a really lovely activity, again, for everyone to kind of get involved with. And March is actually the month of plums at Boschendal. So last year they had their first plum festival, where they basically celebrate harvesting the plums. They have an enormous amount of plums to harvest on the property. So guests can come in on a Sunday and help with the harvest. And it's a really cool sort of family activity. And then the shop and everything on the farm, the restaurants, is all to do with plums. So they'll have plum produce in the shops. They'll have, you know, the plum inspired menus at the restaurants. And it's just a, really lovely thing to get involved with. So if guests are staying during this time, it is a really exciting time on the farm. And last year they had a HANDSPRING puppet show as well. So they theme it they're having themes every year. So last year it was all to do with conservation. This year it's to do with sustainability in waterways. And there's always a kind of key message behind it. So that those sort of key messages are getting into those younger generations in a really fun way. So really for us, Boschendal is just an incredible option for that Western Cape region. You could even potentially use it as a base to go into Cape Town if you've got guests who aren't wanting to stay in the city. Doing a day trip to Cape Town is totally doable, and it's just so serene, it's so idyllic. It's really close to Franschhoek, which is obviously, you know, one of the sort of hearts of the Winelands area. So it's just a perfect location and just this sort of huge space, really intimate, really private, and just so much natural beauty here.